Welcome to our weekly Bhakti Vaibhav class. So in the last week, we were discussing from chapter 2, wherein Maitreya is talking about the sacrifice performed by Daksha. Actually, the chapter starts with an inquiry made by Vidura. Kastam charachara gurum nirvairam shantra vigraham. Atma ramam katam dveshti. Jagato daivatam mahat. See, Lord Shiva is considered to be the spiritual master of all the living entities. Charachara gurum and nirvairam. He himself has no enmity with anybody. Shanta vigraham. He is completely peaceful. So, and is Atma Rama, completely self-satisfied. Katam dveshti. Unto such a person, how could Daksha develop enmity? So that was the inquiry. As a result of which, Sati has to burn her body alive. So that is like a very unexpected, unusual thing. So for that reason, in order to explain the reason for starts with the performance of Yajna, wherein all the devatas assembled there as part of the Yajna, all the sages and devatas, including Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Then the sponsorer Daksha arrived into that assembly. Everyone got up. 1 minute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, not able to hear.
Madhvi Mataji, he said 1 minute, I think.
Okay.
I am back. So, as Daksha arrived into the sacrificial arena, everyone got up except two people. One is Brahma, other one is Lord Shiva. So Daksha thought that okay, Shiva will get up. Waiting. He came in front of Brahma, offered obeisance, says Lord Brahma blessed him. Then as he was going back, Brahma indicated him to sit on the asan. He was supposed to go and sit on the asan, but he was still waiting. Shiva will get up and offer pranams. Because here Shiva is Daksha's son-in-law. Shiva married Daksha's 16th daughter, the youngest daughter, who was very dear to Daksha. So Shiva did not get up. So then Daksha becomes very angry and starts speaking. Don't think that I am speaking out of offense to Lord Shiva, out of hatred for Lord Shiva, but just to teach the good conduct, good manners of etiquette, I am trying to teach like that. He starts criticizing Lord Shiva, saying that he does not even have common sense to have a home, to live in the home. He resides in the crematorium, smears his entire body with the ashes. He has the eyes of a monkey, Marakata Lochana. And I have given my daughter, who has the eyes like a deer, Mrugunayani, because Brahma told, even Brahma also does not understand that whom to give, whom not to give. He recommended me that my daughter should be given to him. So, like that, he kind of criticizes a lot about Lord Shiva, so many words and etc. And this was the last verse we discussed in the last class, where at the end, Daksha actually does not stop there. He curses Lord Shiva that you will never get oblations from the sacrifices. That was the curse pronounced by Daksha unto Lord Shiva. I think that was the previous verse. Having said that, Sahabagam na labatam dever deva ganadama. So he says that dever deva ganadama. You are lowest among the devatas. You are not fit to get any oblations. So, but Mother Saraswati says that we have seen that in all the verses actually glorify Lord Shiva in one sense. Ganadama means, so in comparison to Lord Shiva, all the devatas are very much inferior, and Lord Shiva is not fit to honor the oblations along with them. So that is not good for him. So he was saved from that, something like that. And after cursing, even while he was cursing, everyone in the assembly, they are actually requesting Daksha, please, please don't do, stop, enough is enough, and don't curse. But Daksha did not listen to anybody. He pronounced curse, and everyone said, at least become calm now and stay. But he did not listen. He went out. I do not see anyone except myself who has intelligence. Then Daksha left in anger, thinking, I should not stay in an assembly of such irreligious people. Though other people said that don't become angry, please come back, still he did not listen. He just went back to his inner chambers. Nishiddhamana sa sadasya mukhyair Daksho Giritraya Visrujya Sharapam. So Daksha pronounced curse upon Lord Shiva. Even though everyone was telling, please, please don't do that. Then Tasmad Vinishkramya Vivruddha Manyur, being overtaken by anger, Vivruddha Manyur, increased anger. V Nishkramya, he gave up that assembly and went to his own home. Jagama Nijam Niketanam, he left that palace and returned to his own house. So that was the whole thing happened. Someone can read this purport. This is one of the interesting purport, very instructive. Let them read.
Anger is so detrimental that even a great personality like Daksha, out of anger, left the arena where Brahma was presiding, and all the great sages and pious and saintly persons were assembled. All of them requested him not to leave, but infuriated, he left, thinking that the auspicious place was not fit for him. Puffed up by his exalted position, he thought that no one was greater than he in argument. It appears that all the members of the assembly, including Lord Brahma, requested him not to be angry and leave their company. But in spite of all these requests, he left. That is the effect of a cruel anger. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore, it is advised that one who desires to make tangible advancement in spiritual consciousness must avoid three things: lust, anger, and the mode of passion. Actually, we can see that lust, anger, and passion make a man crazy, even though he be a as great as Daksha. The very name Daksha suggests that he was expert in all material activities. But still, because of his aversion towards such a saintly personality as Shiva, he was attacked by these three elements: anger, lust, and passion. Lord Chaitanya therefore advised that one be very careful not to offend Vaishnavas. He compared offenses towards Vaishnava to a mad elephant. As a mad elephant can do anything horrible, so when a person offends a Vaishnava, he can perform any abominable action.
Yeah, here Prabhupada talks about the importance of self-control, beware of anger, dangers of anger. Bhagavad Gita, we see that ध्यायतो विषयां पुंसा संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगा संजायते कामा कामात् क्रोधो भी जायते. So based on our contemplation we develop desire. When our desires are fulfilled we develop greed. We want to have more and more. When the desires are not fulfilled we develop anger. So that's how anger is arising. Here Daksha's desire was, he was expecting some respect from Lord Shiva, of course from everyone in the assembly. So when he did not get that respect from one person, there are thousands of people in the assembly, everyone respecting him, but one person did not respect. That created so much anger in him. This is the problem with the expectations. And as Prabhupada also quotes some more words, this comes I think in the 16th chapter. There are three gates to hell: Kama, Krodha, Lobha. So one should actually make an endeavor to give them up these 3 years. I don't remember completely as it is. Just Kama, Krodha, Lobha. These three are the three gates to hell. So one should be always endeavor to uh, stay away from them. So in that way. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's reference is given. If we see Chaitanya Shishtastakam. 2 verses actually were very important verses out of the 8 verses which keep us grounded always. The first verse is Trunadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sayashna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Amanina Manadena. So give respect to everyone and don't respect anything in return. If this principle is followed, there was no need for Daksha to become angry for Lord Shiva. So that can be applicable to any one of us. Not only Daksha, we may find fault with Daksha, why Daksha is behaving like this, like a small kid. But we should not see Daksha here, we should see ourselves in the scripture. We should not see scriptures like a window. So when we see the scriptures like a window, we see the faults in others only. So like from our window, we see everyone, whoever people are there on the roadside. Some people are going right, some people are going left, some people are standing there, some people are waiting for taxi, etc. We see different people doing different things. We see through window. So that should not be the proper mode of studying Bhagavatam. We should see Bhagavatam as the mirror. So when we read Bhagavatam, there are different people who are doing different mistakes. So we should see them as our own reflection. Then we'll get actually lessons from Bhagavatam. We can correct ourselves. So this is one of the understanding how to approach Bhagavatam, etc. So but this verse, if this verse is applied in our day-to-day activities, so such kind of difficulties will not come upon us. Whatever difficulties Daksha will go through. The 4th chapter will talk about Daksha elaborately, and then 6th canto also will talk about Daksha elaborately. 2 cantos his activities are mentioned. So he is into difficulties actually. A lot of difficulties because of such kind of behavior. So it is like that. The next verse is Nadanam Najanam Kavitam Va Sundarim Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahetuki Tvayi. So other subtle expectations were Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim, Kavitam, etc. etc. If one is not aspiring for them, so there was no opportunity being affected by Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Moha, Matsara. Theoretically, they are very easy to read and easy to hear, but meditating upon the meaning of these verses, actually, we need to wait. We need to stop ourselves and contemplate on them. Then we can put them into practice. Otherwise, every day we may recite, every day we may hear. Okay, okay. It happens. I'm not talking about two, but in general, all of us. So Daksha pastime is actually one of the eye opener for all the sadhakas, as I have mentioned previously also in the introduction class. So the 4th canto especially, and the 5th canto, the first 15 chapters. These 31 plus 15, 46 chapters or something like that. Actually tell us what are the difficulties can come in a sadhaka's life. They are actually preparing us. So when we get into sadhana bhakti, we have understood what is bhajan kriya, how to practice bhajan kriya in the 3rd canto teachings of Lord Kapila. What are the different ways of performing bhajan kriya? Now while engaging in bhajan kriya, what are different obstacles can come? So these 2 cantos specifically talks about all these obstacles. So at least if we theoretically study, when such kind of obstacles come in our life, we should correlate ourselves with, okay, I fall into the trap of Daksha, and I fall into the trap of Suruchi, I fall into the trap of Prachinabari. Like that, we can compare ourselves and then we can also understand how to come out it by referring to the further sections of Bhagavatam. So this is one point.
Another last question.
Huh? Louder.
The obstacles, when you talk about, sometimes they are circumstances. Sometimes some circumstances make us feel a little agitated, but then after that situation goes, we are like calmer again, and we kind of think about it, that what went was not right. But such circumstances keep coming, and then you kind of lose. And then again, what I feel in my personal case is also age has its own factors. Like sometimes at a certain age, you tend to lose your patience at times. But then after some times, you kind of again sit back and say, no, this is not supposed to be done. So In such cases, how do you take examples from the scriptures and then
One ideal example, I mean ideal response. This is not a practical response. We cannot implement this in our day-to-day thing. Haridas Tagore, for no reason, he was executed to be beaten in front of 22 marketplaces. For no reason of his mistake. So how did he respond? This is the ideal. But in practical, we all have limitations. We all have expectations. So as time progresses, we should minimize our expectations. We expect others should listen to us. That is where the problem comes.
no, the other way around? The others expect too much from us.
I mean, forget about others. Others expect, but we become angry because we expect others to listen to us. Also,
Maybe.
so it is there. Of course, others also expect us. When we don't follow, they will become angry. When they become angry, we don't expect them to become angry.
Yeah, that expectation.
That is also an expectation. So then we become angry. So that is there. So it is a long way to go because one person cannot able to tackle this. It should be from both the sides. But we need to learn through experiences. As time progresses, things should become minimal. If they are increasing, then we are not improving.
The thing is, we always look upon to these examples, but if there is any contemporary example, and it makes more, we can relate to it more. So when we think of Prabhupada, okay, he went through so many turbulences, so yes, possible, 50 years back, that's possible.
Prabhupada also, like many of his God brothers, criticized him and so many things, wrong propagandas went here and there. But Prabhupada, for a briefly, might have said few things against them also, but otherwise he was busy with his doing his things. Like that, these things are there. So basically, if we are focused on what we want, other things can be ignored. So for example, Radhika Prabhu gave this example. When the students, initial days when we joined in Brahmacharya Ashram, we used to give this example. As students were there in the not Brahmacharya Ashram, in the hostels while studying, the purpose for which students came to university is to study. But if they start fighting in the campus kitchen, this is not good, that is not good, this is not good, there is no point in fighting so much. With 3-4 items are there in the menu, you take whichever you like. If some salt is less in one item, don't take it, leave it. If you start fighting for the salt there, you will stop there only. You will not. You are not come here to eat some food item which is filled with salt and all etc. So your purpose of coming to campus is to study. So focus on that. So it's like that. The our attention diverts because of so many other side unimportant issues. We see them as important. So in that way. So now we'll continue from verse number 20. विज्ञाय शापं गिरिशानुगाग्रणैर्नन्दीश्वरो रोषकषाय दूषिता दक्षाय शापं विससर्ज दारुणं ये चान्वमोदं तदवाच तां द्विजा. Someone read the translation?
Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandisvara, one of Lord Shiva's principal associates, became greatly angry. His eyes became red and he prepared to curse Daksha and all the Brahmanas present there who had tolerated Daksha's cursing Shiva in harsh words.
Yeah. So Daksha did his part, he cursed and left. Then what's happening in the assembly is being described in the rest of the chapter. Upon understanding that Lord Shiva had been cursed, Nandishvara, Lord Shiva's principal follower, Girisha Anuga Agranir Nandishvaro, with red eyes of anger, Rosha Kashaya Dushita. So he began to curse Daksha and many of the Brahmanas who are the followers of Daksha, who did not say anything against Daksha while Daksha was criticizing Lord Shiva and cursing Lord Shiva. So later on in the upcoming chapters, we'll understand what should be our response while somebody is being cursed or somebody is being disrespected, etc., etc. That time we'll elaborate on that principle. But at least for now, so the others are, to some extent, they were trying to stop Daksha, saying that, my dear Daksha, please don't say, don't speak, stop, don't curse, like that they said. But actually they could not stop Daksha. So Nandisvara became very unhappy, and he began to curse Daksha as well as the followers of Daksha who failed to stop Daksha. So but Prabhupada writes in the purport, actually Lord Shiva kept quiet. And Nandisvara, being the important follower of Lord Shiva, should have kept quiet. But he unnecessarily took up the responsibility on his shoulders and began to shout at Daksha and all his followers. So one way it is good, but other way it is not good, like that Prabhupada says. Nandisvara was affected by cursing, but he did not follow the example of Lord Shiva, who was also present there. Although Lord Shiva could also have cursed Daksha in a similar way, he was silent and tolerant. But Nandisvara, his follower, was not tolerant. Of course, as a follower, it was right for him not to tolerate an insult of his master, but he should not have cursed the Brahmanas who were present. So, Daksha is the one who cursed. So, okay, he would have shown his anger upon Daksha only. But Nandi went one step ahead, began to curse the followers of Daksha also, the Brahmanas. So, the result of that we will get to see in the later part of the chapter. Contaminated with the ointment of anger, that Rosha Kashaya Dushita is particularly described. Dushita means contaminated with the ointment of anger. Rosha is anger, Kashaya is ointment, something like that. Means his eyes became red. He also cursed those who tolerated the curse of Lord Shiva. So now,
Hare
in
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Really, here, like in the purport, it is mentioned that he was like Nandishvara was right because he had not tolerated the insult done to his master. Like we see, even if someone insults one's spiritual master, we say that one should not tolerate that. Either one should have the ability to completely by refutation of the arguments and counter arguments, one should means वो person को हराना चाहिए, या the second thing is if the one doesn't have that ability, one should leave the place from there, or one should end one's life. To that extent, scriptures say. So, in that light, how we see like Nandishvara, if not cursing, what he could have done to, or
See
not to.
how to respond will come in one of the future chapters. Sati will talk about it. That time we'll discuss about it. But for now, Nandishvara went ahead what he's supposed to do. Of course, as a student, as a follower of Lord Shiva, he has some responsibility to protect the honor of Lord Shiva. That much is fine. But he went much ahead of that. That was the problem. Out of over enthusiasm, he went much ahead. That is the problem. So we should understand what is the limit. Sometimes that is also required.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm. So like that we can understand this. ययेतन्मर्त्यमुद्दिश्य भगवती अप्रतिद्रुहि ध्रुयति अज्ञपृथग्दृष्टेस्तत्त्वतो विमुखो भवेत्.
Anyone who has accepted Daksha as the most important personality and neglected Lord Shiva because of envy is less intelligent, and because of visualizing in duality will be bereft of transcendental knowledge.
So here some of the important philosophical aspects are being presented. So Prabhupada also writes elaborately in the purports. So request everyone to read line by line afterwards. We will discuss some of the points, but all of you requested to read thoroughly afterwards. Yayetan Martem Uddishya. So he refers to Daksha. Daksha was identifying with the mortal body. He was only identifying, thinking himself with the mortal body, and he was expecting for the respect for the body. That was his problem. So because of that, he offended Lord Shiva. Bhagavati Aprati Druhi. He criticized Lord Shiva, who is non-violent. And that Daksha, who is identifying himself with the body, who unnecessarily criticizes Lord Shiva, will become a fool, Agnya. Seeing in terms of different bodies, Prutak Drishti, and rejecting the Supreme Lord, Tattvato Vimukha. So basically, Prabhupada actually talks about his lack of spiritual knowledge, his lack of spiritual understanding. That's why he is still gazing at the bodily identification and bodily respects, etc. etc. So Nandishwara actually pointing out that thing. Since you are looking in terms of body only, so you lose spiritual knowledge, and you always continue to do same thing. Whatever you are doing now, you continue to do the same thing by becoming a less intelligent person, Agnya, something like that. So next three verses explain Nandishwara's curse upon Daksha. He who identifying with his body, subjected to death, Ethan Martyam, hates Lord Shiva, will become ignorant. That ignorant person is further explained. What will he do after becoming ignorant? He sees in terms of different living beings, such as both children and wife. He will be opposed to the Lord, Tattvataha. This is the first curse. So the result of becoming fool, or the result of being attached to the bodily identification, is that he will continue to see the differences in terms of me and mine, children and wife, etc. etc. Later on also we'll see in the sixth canto that when he is 10,000 sons, Haryashvas, 10,000 sons, when they were liberated by Narada Muni, he becomes very unhappy. They have gone back to Godhead. It should be an occasion of happiness. So he becomes very much unhappy because he wanted his way of living should be gone through, not that they should have gone back to Godhead immediately. So that is the problem. So like that.
Hare Krishna.
Rex.
How we understand the Nandishwara's curse, because he's saying that you will be bereft of the transcendental knowledge, but the very fact that Daksha is behaving in this way, he already doesn't possess it. So where is the question of losing it then?
Very good question.
No, not that he does not possess it. He possesses it. He has it, but such kind of things like anger, expectation, greed, when they overcome, the spiritual knowledge becomes hidden. It will go into sidetrack. Even today also, all of us, we may know so much philosophy, we have heard so many times, but circumstantially we become angry. We unnecessarily chastise someone for no reason sometimes. So where that knowledge has gone?
Hmm.
Though it is there, but for a moment, it is gone. The anger takes prominence over everything else, or the greed takes prominence over everything else, and we behave inappropriately. Don't see Daksha here, see ourselves.
Yeah, but that means the curse is that whatever knowledge we have at the backside of the mind, we may not momentarily be using it. That also will be vanished. That's what the
Hmm.
curse is. Okay.
Don't see this verse alone. You have to see the whole picture in order. Now, if Daksha had criticized some materialist, there was no problem. But Daksha had criticized Lord Shiva, who is not an ordinary person. So, criticism only. But when it is done against a great person, there will be great response. When it is done against a small person, there will be small response.
Yeah.
So, in that way. And he himself is not a small person. He himself is a big person. As Radha Gopinath Prabhu told in the last Sunday, big person always does big mistakes only. Even though he does a small mistake, but since he's a big person, the mistake is also big. Accordingly, proportionally, it becomes big.
Yeah.
So it's like
Understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Prabhuji, the knowledge of the soul and the body is the fundamental knowledge, actually, right? Everything is based on that, and what happens, we tend to forget this very same knowledge.
it is fundamental knowledge, basic knowledge. Still, we forget.
Yeah.
We forget. For example, last week only there was a feast. I ate sweet over too much, more than I'm supposed to eat. I'm suffering even now also.
Okay.
throat effect and all sardi, etc. cough. So it's like that. It's okay. We are hearing knowledge. We have not realized knowledge.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to go.
In theory only.
I'm simple giving an example I'm giving, but it happens in multiple cases. So now Nandisvara continues. Griheshu kuta dharmeshu sakto gramyasu kechaya karmatantram vitanute vedavada vipannadhi.
Pretentiously religious householder life in which one is attracted to material happiness and thus also attracted to the superficial explanation of the Vedas robs one of all intelligence and attaches one to fruitive activities as all in all.
That person attached to cheating rules of household life. Griheshu kuta dharmeshu sakto. Sakto means being attached to. Griheshu Gruhadharmane Gruheshu Kuta Dharmeshu. Kuta means cheating religion. So with a desire for material happiness, is intelligence spoiled by misleading followers of the Vedas. Veda Vada Vipannadi. And such kind of a person will become totally absorbed in Karma Kanda. Karma Tantram Vitanute. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 42, 43, I think, I suppose. Anyone remember about Karma Kanda rituals of the Vedas?
44 na Bhogeshwari Prasaktanam Taya Pratachetasa.
And no, little before or after that verse. Yamima.
Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham. Yeah.
Can you read the entire verse?
Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham Pravadanti Vipaschitaha Vedavada Partha Nanyad Asyativadinaha Kamatmana Swargapara Janma Karma Falapradan Kriya Vishesha Bahulan Bhogeshwari Katamkriti.
Na Anyat Asti Iti Vadina. They are called Vedavada Rathas. As it is mentioned here, Vedavada Vipannadi. Same thing. These and they are same. And they say that the principal teaching of the Vedas is Bhoga and Aishwarya. Kriya Vishesha Bahulam. Perform so many Vedic rituals by which you will go to Swarga and enjoy more Bhoga, more Aishwarya. Again, take birth in the aristocratic family, enjoy more Bhoga, more Aishwarya here. Again, perform sacrifices, go to heaven. That's all. This is the principal teaching of the Vedas. And here Nandisvara is saying that those people who follow your behavior, they will become the Karmakanda ritualistic people, the Karmakanda followers. So this is the curse upon Daksha. Or Daksha like-minded mentality people. In that sense. So from the spiritual knowledge point of view, one's intelligence is spoiled by the misleading followers of the Vedas. Veda Vada Vipannadi. So because person becomes such kind of people who are attracted to Gramya Sukha, the material happiness, will be attracted to the flowery words of the Vedas. And they are misled from the actual teachings of the Vedas, that is going back home, back to Godhead. So that is the indication of this verse. So Daksha is behaving in that regard. He is looking for material name and fame. He is looking for material recognition, material prestige. So when that is not met, he is reacting very harshly. So Nandishwara is saying that such kind of behavior only is fit to those people who are attracted to material happiness. So may you continue like that. So like that, Nandishwara is saying. Followers of the Vedas means those whose intelligence is spoiled by the statements such as Akshayam Havai Chaturmasya Yajina Sukrutam Bhavati. The performer of the Chaturmasya Vrata or 4 months of austerity achieved immortality. Akshayam. So some of the Vedic literatures like here Krishna Yajurveda which says that so the result of performing Chaturmasya Vrata is Akshaya, inexhaustible. So it is called here as immortality. So you will go to Swarga and enjoy unlimited blessings. But from Brahma's lifetime point of view, what going to heaven will do? Even at max, if a person does lot of pious austerity, pious activities, one may go to heaven. At max, one can live in heaven only for one another period. Not more than that. No one can live in the heaven more than one another period. So how can it become Akshaya? Of course, from our lifespan point of view, it is Akshaya from that sense. But it is not ultimately, it is not Akshaya. But people become attracted to such kind of statements of the Vedas. So like that, here Nandisvara is pronouncing a curse against Daksha.
So in the purport, what you just said is that's from Yajurveda.
Yeah, Krishna Yajurveda. As Mataji mentioned that Bhogeshwarya ka prasaktanam taya pahurta chesta. So Vyavasaya Samadhavana Vidiyate. Such kind of people, their intelligence is not resolute. They will not be able to focus on spiritual knowledge and spiritual activities in that sense. Then Nandishwara further continues. Buddhya paravidhyainya विस्मर्तात्मगति पशु स्त्रीकामासोऽस्तु अतितरां दक्षो बस्तमुखोचिरात्.
Daksha has accepted the body as all in all. Therefore, since he has forgotten the Vishnupada or Vishnugati and is attached to sex life only, within a short time he will have the face of a goat.
Let Daksha, who has forgotten the spiritual goal, Vismruta Atmagati, Vismruta Atmagati, is not interested in getting the constitutional position of Atma, that is going back to spiritual world. Why? Because of accepting his body as the self. Buddhya para avidya. So his intelligence is not focused on intelligence. Intelligence is not focused on Atma, instead is focusing on the body. And he is excessively attached to the woman, like an animal. Immediately take a head like a goat. Basta muko. And since you are behaving like an animal, your intelligence is like that of an animal, may you get, very soon you will get a goat head. So like that Daksha had, not Daksha, Nandishwara had pronounced Daksha. Pronounced a curse upon Daksha.
He already knew the future. I mean, the head was given to him to Daksha by
No.
Shiva.
It is not that he knows the future. He cursed, because of which eventually got goat head. Like that you should see. By having yes, Mataji.
No, you finish first.
By having intelligence which thinks the body to be the self, he has forgotten the goal of life. If one is thinking oneself as the body, one is only interested in eat, sleep, and be merry. So one is not at all interested in any spiritual activities. Even if at all one does any spiritual activity, he still thinks of bodily more comforts, more facilities. So that is the problem here. Desiring women excessively is like an animal. That is the second curse. That he should have a head like a goat's head is the third curse. So like that, one after the other, multiple curses were pronounced upon Daksha. So may you lose your intelligence, become Ajna. As a result of that, you become attracted to the flowery words of the Vedas, and you become attracted to material happiness, and you will be and your intelligence is only attracted to the body, and you will lose the goal of life. And then since you are excessively attracted to material enjoyment like an animal, may you get the animal head like the goat head, something like that. These are the different curses upon Daksha. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, is there any significance of the goat's head in particular? Because there are so many animals, but why the goat's head was?
Why the goat head? I don't know exactly, but at least I mean the animal instinct. So generally, this example is quoted. I mean, this is a very grossly example. Even when there are 10 goats which are there in a slaughterhouse, in front of the other 9 goats, if one goat is killed, that goat is crying like anything. But still, the other 9 goats are not at all disturbed. They are simply eating the grass. Even though in front of them, one of their goat is being cut, their throat is being cut, but still the other goats are only interested in eating grass. So that kind of example is shown the behavior of a goat in relation to the behavior of a goat. So that is like two ignorant condition.
Yeah, okay.
So in that way it is being shown here.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, you want to say something? Vidya buddhira vidyayam karma mayam asau jada samsarantu iha samsarantiha ye chamum anu sarvavamaninam.
Those who have become as dull as matter by cultivating materialistic education and intelligence are recently involved in fruitive activities. Such men have purposely insulted Lord Shiva. May they continue in the cycle of repeated birth and death.
So first two lines talks about Daksha. Next two lines talks about Daksha's followers. So about Daksha, Vidya buddhi ravidyayam karmamayam asau jada. The curses are suitable because he takes ignorance. Asau buddhir avidyaya in the form of karma as knowledge, and he is foolish. So like in summary, Nandisvara is summarizing. So whatever has been said, that is more than enough for you, my dear Daksha, because you take ignorance as ignorance in the form of karma as knowledge. That means you become attracted to karma and consider karma to be the ultimate goal of life, ignoring bhakti, and you will remain as a jada or foolish. So these are the summary of curses on Daksha. Okay. Now Daksha's followers. So till here is kind of proper expected response of a disciple toward the protection of the honor of the master. That is fine. But now he goes out of over enthusiasm. He goes many steps ahead and starts cursing all the brahmanas who are there. Seeing the brahmanas are also as good as Daksha. Just because out of courtesy, out of respect, they did not stop Daksha. They were trying to stop, but Daksha was not listening. So they tried their best, they could not do much. But Nandisvara could not have cursed them. So that is the mistake of Nandisvara. So now Nandisvara is going to talk about some of the very, what you can say, irreversible words. Let those who follow Daksha, who insulted Shiva, and of course Daksha insulted Shiva, and the followers of that Daksha who insulted Shiva, take repeated birth and death in this world. Samsarantau iha. Of course, one thing is very clear. Those who follow Daksha, that word is there. Even though among the Brahmanas, many may not be following Daksha. And maybe currently they might be kind of, because they are invited by Daksha, so they are busy in performing sacrifice, etc. But in generally, they are not following Daksha always. But specifically, this verse is should be taken in such a way that those people who also have mentality like that of Daksha, who feel themselves as the advent follower of Daksha, that kind of people are supposed to be attracted by the karma, and they continue to take birth and death in this material world. Samsaranto iha. These three curses are suitable for Daksha because he takes ignorance in the form of karma as knowledge and he is foolish. Another version is Aja. is like a goat. So there is one word, Jada is there, na? Asau Jada. So he is a foolish. But in some other versions of Bhagavatam, there is Aja. Instead of Jada, there is Aja. Aja refers to goat. So he will become goat. Because since he is goat, so he will take this only. He will be only interested in karma. So like that they have said.
Aja is
Hare Krishna.
Goat. Aja is goat. 1 second, Mataji, I'll take your question. Just 2 lines are there. I'll read them. I'll take. So in 2.5 verses, now Nandisvara will curse the Brahmanas who are the followers of Daksha. So what are the curses unto Brahmanas? Let those who follow Daksha take repeated birth and death. So this is the first result. Because the problem is following Daksha means being attracted to karma. Here karma is sakama karma. Karma that entails more and more enjoyment in this material world. So those who are attracted to sakama karma, they are by default, whether Nandi curses or not, that is the result actually. So in one sense, Nandi is saying what is there in Shastra only. So like that we should take. Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you said Nandi should have stopped with cursing the Daksha, but he should not have gone overboard. But actually, Nandishwara is cursing only the followers of Daksha. He didn't curse everybody across the board, no? So it was not wrong on his part to curse the Brahmanas because they were following Daksha and they were criticizing Shiva indirectly.
Not like that. See, now see the context. Daksha spoke something criticizingly. So, okay, Daksha is at fault. You speak against Daksha. Bas. Brahmanas, what they did. Whether they may be followers.
These are followers of Daksha, right?
Whether they are followers or not followers. What right do we have to talk about them? We have problem with Daksha.
They did not stop Daksha from cursing then, isn't it?
They were trying to stop, na? It is said in the sloka. They were trying to stop.
No, if they were followers, they wouldn't have tried to stop only, no?
Yeah, that is also
if they
there.
were followers of Daksha, they wouldn't have tried to stop only. They would have enjoyed the curses which Daksha is pronouncing.
No, even the followers also, if something is going against, should stop. The example always quoted about Karna. Karna said is a loyal friend of Duryodhana. Duryodhana doing all the nasty things. Why he never stopped Duryodhana? Because Karna also wanted the same thing. So he always echoed with Karna, he echoed with Duryodhana.
Yeah.
That people, outside people don't understand that, but so it's like that. See, as a follower, they might be echoing with Daksha. That is fine. From a normal point of view, when we have problem with X, we have to deal with X. We don't have to deal with the associates of X.
Because I remember reading in 2-3 purports before, like saying that many people were all against Shiva, and those Brahmanas did not, they were happy when Shiva was cursed like this. I remember reading. I'll just let you know. So I was thinking, if they were all happy when the curses was pronounced on Lord Shiva, that means they should also be punished for what they did, isn't it?
See, it may be. Some might be echoing with Daksha and they might be feeling happy, etc. But still, who are we to give judgment?
Nandishwara was the follower of Shiva. So to safeguard his spiritual master's interest, he had to do something, isn't it?
He did, na. He cursed Daksha. Done.
He cursed Daksha. That's what that's why he cursed Brahmanas. So there was what I'm trying to say is it was not wrong.
Why Brahmanas? Why Brahmanas?
At least at that point, they did not speak anything against
why them?
Prabhuji, can I enter into the discussion? Like we always say that there is something like act of commission and act of omission. Like Daksha was guilty of act of commission, that he actually cursed Shiva without any mistake of his and offended the Vaishnava. But at the same time, the other Brahmanas, they were guilty of act of omission. That means one Mahan Vaishnava was getting offended, but nobody said to Daksha that this is a wrong thing. Somebody could have got up and said that this is a very wrong thing you have done, but nobody has done that.
No, we have read in the sloka, 19th sloka talks about that. Many people said don't do it, don't do it. Still he was doing. They said, don't curse him, don't curse him. Still he was cursing. They said, don't go, don't go. Still he was going out.
So
Some tried, if not everyone.
they stopped him from going and not leaving the assembly, but not from insulting or cursing Lord Shiva. Na? That is the thing.
Some stopped, even that also they did.
Okay.
See, there is another etiquette also. Eat the host.
Yeah.
So that is also there.
Right.
Uh,
But in one of the purport in of these sloka verses only, Prabhupada mentions that the difference between Shaivites and Vaishnavites, and so some of the means some of the people Vaishnav, those who may not be properly situated in the Vaishnav philosophy, they have things against Shiva and they consider Shaivites as they so
Yes,
constant
Prabhu.
रहता है
Yeah.
ना
In
Shiva.
4.20 purport, na, Prabhupada says this. He says that Daksha cursed Lord Shiva in harsh words. Some of the Brahmanas present might have enjoyed it because some of the Brahmanas do not very much admire Lord Shiva.
it is okay. See, we don't have to get into so many controversial details. That is fine. So now let us
But at the
see
same time, like
who,
whatever
who is who is liking whom, who is not liking whom. That all there are all details. Forget about them. So let us see Daksha like ourselves. So what we are not supposed to see, what we are not supposed to do. Even when it comes to Nandisvara. So what I am trying to convey here is there is some wrong action is performed. When we react, we have to react to whatever is necessary. We should not go overboard. That is the point I am trying to convey.
yeah, because all these curses, Prabhuji, they are really very deadly curses. Means if
Mm.
somebody uh,
Yes.
curses to lose something material, that is also understood. But here he is saying that you will, be eternally in the cycle of birth and death, and you will lose the transcendental knowledge, which
Mm.
is I think a very, very, very big thing to
Mm.
curse like that.
And these are not ordinary people. It is not that okay, small people, okay, they speak, okay, it is gone in Hawa. ऐसा नहीं. These are big
Yeah.
people. Whatever they say will come true. So, so though they all these things, whatever they are saying, philosophically correct, but still we should not say. In spite of everything is being correct, we should not say because we should allow things to happen on their own accord. This is the principle. This all of you have studied in the first canto. If you remember, when Parikshit Maharaj asked Dharma, Parikshit Maharaj was seeing that Kali dressing like a king, beating the bull. But still, before giving punishment to Kali, Parikshit Maharaj asked to Dharma, the bull, who is the cause of your suffering? What was the answer given by bull?
Myself.
Sorry?
Myself.
Myself? No, he did not say myself.
Yeah, he said, no, it's all
No, he didn't point out to anybody. It is as per the
Means
providence, he said.
karma and situation, because of that, things keep coming. So that is the reason he didn't point out that.
Yes,
Kali.
yes, he
I
said.
want to understand from you what did he say?
It is by the providence will, isn't it? That's what he said.
Did he say like that?
Something of that's what he mentioned.
No, he said that some say it is due to one's karma, some say it is due to planets, some say it is due to Daiva, some say it is one's destiny. So, like that. He just said what different philosophers say. Ultimately, he gives his own opinion. If at all we identify the perpetrator, we were also guilty of going through the punishment. One who identifies or points out the perpetrator, and we will also subjected to the punishment. That is the final verdict of dharma.
अगर बोलने का भी नहीं किसी ने गुनाह किया
बोलने का भी नहीं, कुछ गलती हो गया तो भी बोलने का नहीं, क्योंकि when we say something we are breaking the position of the judge. If somebody does some galti on us, the principle is, this is the ideal principle, don't follow it unnecessarily and immaturely. If something is happening to us, we should accept it as our karma, as a result of our karma. So then whom should we blame? our karma. But actually it is happening through a person. If we blame that person, we are actually transferring our karma to him. We are not taking the responsibility of our own karma. So we are pointing out the cause of our suffering as somebody else than our karma. So by doing that mistake, we are again guilty of committing crime, and we are again supposed to go through one more punishment. That is the subtle principle of dharma. This is very ideal principle, very difficult to
I know.
follow.
I just wanted to ask you, in Kali Yuga, is it possible? Because we hear if you're exploited, you have to address it. No, so when you're addressing it, you have to point out this is a person saying such things. How can you address it? If you're challenged, you have to face it like that. All those things are in Kali Yuga. How do you explain this? Then it's not easy to follow, Prabhu.
So that's why it is something is called as idealism, something is called as practicalism. Lord Rama's life was kind of idealism. Lord Krishna's life was something called as practicalism. And Treta Yuga to Dwapara Yuga, idealism to practicalism came. Now Kali Yuga, it is over practicalism. In the name of practicality, we overdo for our own benefit. Even though we are wrong, we commit our wrong activities, we cover our wrong activities, and we speak for our favor or for our own people's favor. Even though they may do wrong, we try to show them they are good. So that is the current situation in Kali Yuga. So we are nowhere in the practical level also. Practicality for Dwapara Yuga. Now Kali Yuga, it is much beyond practicality. Can I share one personal example?
Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry to share. I mean, in one way I'm criticizing myself only. See, it not only myself. I'm taking two examples of myself and my brother. So when some discussion happens within our family, my mother sometimes chastises me or chastises my brother for not taking the responsibilities in proper way. Since I have not got married, and my brother after marriage, he kind of moved out of home. So both of us not taking the responsibilities of home. In that way, she chastises us. But when a third person says anything, and both my mother and brother combined together chastise them. So it's like that. So even though our own person is that mistake, but we think that I can point out his mistake, but no one else should point out. If somebody else from outside points out, that's all is gone.
That's motherly affection. You can't call it.
Okay, you can say motherly affection, but I would say it is beyond logic.
No.
So it is like that. So, but anyway, here my little one paisa worth of understanding is that, so for anything there is a limit. So we should not go beyond limit. So there is one thing I think once Gaurang Prabhu shared with us in our VTA. There are 4 regulative principles that we follow: no meeting, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. There are 4 more to it. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Tagore mentions in one of the books, one of his books. One is oversleeping. Somebody might say, what is wrong in it? But if it goes over, it is wrong. So then speaking lies and visiting places only for sightseeing. That is also one sin. And the fourth one is punishing someone more than necessary. Or punishing someone. So these 4 other things also we need to follow at the 8 regulative principles. We already have 4. We need to add 4 more. It should become total 8 regulative principles. So like that, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Tagore mentions in one of the book 8 category of sins that we generally commit casually.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, third one you said traveling to places just for sightseeing or something. That is,
Ah,
you play travel. You go to holy places and for sightseeing. That is what you're trying to say.
हाँ वो सामने होता है जनरली और रूम में होता है
नहीं यहाँ
पता नहीं मुझे why do people go to places of sightseeing
To get pleasure to the eyes.
that is a like sinful activity so visiting places for a person who is determined to come back to godhead should not be for material enjoyment it should be for spiritual gain so from that point of view you have to understand
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
so in one sense visiting such kind of places sightseeing places are varjite भक्तों के लिए वर्जित है so it's like that so if at all one want to go one can go to Gordhanika village so in that way गिराश्रुताया पुष्पिन्या मधुगन्धेन भूरिना मत्ना मत्ना चोन्मतितात्माना सम्मुहन्तु हरद्विषा
May those who, or read Mataji.
Begin here. May those who are enemies of Lord Shiva, being attracted by the flowery language of the enchanting Vedic promises, and who have thus become dull, always remain attached to.
so again flowery words of the Vedas let those means the followers of Daksha are the people who also echo with Daksha's mentality that kind of people let those who hate Lord Shiva and whose minds are agitated un matita atmana refers to the mind unmatta who are like crazy by strong stimulating sweet fragrance of the words of the Vedas see poetic description madhu gandhena shrutaya gira so those flowery words of the Vedas which are very fragrant which are very sweet like madhu and whose minds are attracted to such kind of words, whose minds are agitated by such kind of words, flowering with promises of material enjoyment. Pushpinya. Pushpa means the result of the plant is flowers. The result of the following the rituals of the Vedas is the results of going to Swarga and enjoying more. Such kind of people become completely attached to karma. Samuhyantu. Of course, in one sense, this is a philosophical truth. No, what is his name? Nandisvara, no need to say all these things. If somebody being attracted to all such kind of things, they will become anyway followers of karma only. But still, now he is taking the role of a judge. He is giving judgment. So sometimes it may be necessary, but many times it is not necessary. So here, that is a problem going on. Let those whose minds are agitated by the agitating and inciting profuse sweet fragrance of the words of the Vedas, which have excessive praise for the material enjoyment like flowers, become attached to karmas. So simple. This is the second curse for the Brahmanas. Previously, first curse was Hachkanda people continue in the cycle of transmigration. Second verse, they become karmis because they are naturally attracted to the flowery words of the Vedas. Now in the next verse, they commit 3-4 curses. He continues one by one. He pronounces 2-3 curses.
Just one thing here. I just wanted to ask you that you just said कि भक्तों के लिए कहीं भी ऐसे places पे जाना वर्जित है, which is slightly probably we can't do it in the family life. But if I talk about a devotee's life, a grahastha life, 24/7, they are not performing all the activities which are in line with the, not in line with the scriptures, they may be, but there are some activities we are doing for ourselves also. It's not necessarily the Krishna conscious activities like going out with families or you know having some kind of
They are varnashrama duties.
Yeah,
In one sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if they are done according to proper cultural portfolio, they are okay. If they are going beyond culture, then they are purely materialistic activities.
So, can you give me one example of beyond culture activities, as in what? What could be beyond culture? It's for us.
Whatever being influenced by Western culture, whatever it is, whatever the function, social get together, such kind of things, which are not necessary, but still we go, even in spite of becoming practicing devotees. But sometimes they are needed. For example, attending a marriage, attending such kind of important samskaras, name giving ceremony or marriage, they are required to be attended. So just for going wedding anniversary, such kind of things may not be so necessary. Just for going some social gathering, office party, such kind of things may not be so necessary. Of course, from the office point of view, it may be necessary, but from spiritual progress point of view, may not be necessary. So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah,
yes,
you
ma'am.
said for traveling. Yeah, for traveling, no. Supposing
Ah,
you go to appreciate nature, then how is it? You're saying, materialistic. Just appreciating a nature.
sorry,
Then
Mataji,
that is the.
I am not saying Sri Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur saying. He said clearly,
Prabhuji,
visiting places for sightseeing is a sin.
I don't know, Prabhuji. Something I feel you appreciate different nature. I mean, different places for
See,
their.
by the way, you go there and you appreciate nature, that is fine. You will not go just for appreciating nature somewhere. You go for some other purpose
Right?
and you get to appreciate nature, that is fine. But going there specifically with a planned tour, not appreciated.
The activity not directly related as a
Related.
service of Krishna,
Uh,
means it's not related to Krishna, and we are trying to derive some enjoyment for our senses, like
mhm,
sense of vision. So that is why it is maybe considered as the same.
mm. See,
Okay.
forget about.
Okay.
See, we might be practice. We are in the association of devotees for many years. We may not be traveling so much. But if you see in the Mumbai, people are traveling so much. Towards GV, there are so many retreat centers. Per day, they pay 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, even 1 lakh also. Such kind of outings are there. It is Lonavala is mainly famous for that, na? Lonavala is always filled with such kind of visitors, etc., etc. It is quite natural, even foreign tourism. Why the people coming from foreign and traveling all over India? I mean, we have in the pre-COVID season, we used to have foreigners visiting our temple every day. Why would they come to India all the way? And there are sometimes the people go on cruise for months together in the ocean only. They'll be traveling for what purpose? See, uh, I'm not telling just because I am not traveling, I'm venting my anger on them. Not like that. I'm just connecting to it. How do we understand that point? So in that way. So basically, they want to have some fun together. So they are traveling. What's harm in it? We may say from material point of view, there is no harm. So in the busy lifestyle, busy life schedule, so they are taking some weekend off. That is fine. But for a spiritual seeker, that is not allowed. We are simply increasing our attachment to this material world by that. Certainly. So, uh, Preeti Naika Mataji, do you remember the verses in relation to Ambarish Maharaj? Savai Manakrishna Padara Vindayor Vashamchi Vaikunta Gunanu Varnane. Like that, many comes. With respect to each and every limb, there is something is mentioned. So, there is one with respect to the eyes. Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane. So, the eyes are always eager to have the darshan of the deities of the Lord in various temples. and padanu sarpane. The legs run toward the temples of the Lord like the snakes. Have you ever seen how a snake walks? Does the snake ever walk? Mataji?
No, Prabhuji. No. It slides.
No, I mean to say walk means does it go slow or does it go fast?
Haha.
If, for example, snake is there, suddenly one person comes nearby, snake gets some vibration. Suddenly, how it responds? It suddenly runs or what?
It
Or
will run.
it slowly goes like the what do you call that? One kind of Sisundar. What is that?
Yeah.
The colors, it changes the colors.
Chameleon.
Chameleon. How does it walk and how does the snake walk? So, Ambarish Maharaj used to go to temples like a snake. How fast it goes. So, that was the eagerness should be shown by a devotee. To go to temple and want to see only the deities of the Lord and nothing else in this world. No beautiful things of this material world. So something like that. So you can afterwards read ninth canto, third or fourth chapter. Ambarish Maharaj ka description comes.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm telling big things, but for a practicing devotee, these are the ideal principles. We know that we may not be able to practice everything, but that is what we are supposed to aspire for.
I don't know, Prabhuji, I'm sorry, but I feel when you go, you take a break, go to different places, see some, nature, and you get charged up, in fact. This is my way of thinking, and I feel then you can get back to the normal routine in a better way.
See, what we are speaking in scriptures, sometimes with our modern day lifestyle, we cannot connect only. It is unrelatable many times. The scriptural teachings are like a normal varnashrama lifestyle. Our lifestyle is nothing to do with varnashrama. It is entirely out of varnashrama only. So sometimes some of these things very irrelatable to our current modern lifestyle. How can we do it? It's not practical. It's not possible only. Actually, it is true. You are not wrong. We need to take off because the office hours are more, and nowadays, even though after work from home also they are. Nair Prabhu says that they are supposed to work for 10 hours, 12 hours, staying at home, but not staying in the home only. So nowadays we don't know what we are doing actually many times. What is our lifestyle? What name we should give to it? That also we don't know. So many things we will not be able to relate to it. But at least Acharya's expectation is that they are not against getting recharged, having gone to some natural place. But according to them, for a sadhaka, going to a place for enjoyment is not allowed. So I'm not talking you to go to a ground and take some fresh breath and look at the nature and look at the greenery. That is fine. There is no problem in that. You can have a facility allows in your home only on the terrace or somewhere. You can have a nice greenery arrangement. So, but going to such kind of places like Udupi, what do you call that? Kodaikanal, Lonavala, and many other places towards our GV. So, such kind of things are not recommended for devotees.
Even GV.
No, towards GV, on the way to GV, so many retreat centers we have.
That is true.
On the way towards GV,
Okay.
I'll say.
Okay.
Not GV.
Okay. Okay. ठीक है.
सर्वभक्षा द्विजवृत्त्यै धृतविद्या तपोव्रता वित्तदेहेन्द्रियारामा याचका vicharantiha.
These brahmanas take to education, austerity, and vows only for the purpose of maintaining the body. They shall be devoid of discrimination between what to eat and what not to eat. They will acquire money, begging from door to door, simply for the satisfaction of the body.
Yeah. Now things are going overboard. Sarva Bhaksha Dvija Vrityai. So some may be like this, but he's telling that Dvija Vrittai, all that firstborn people will be like that. That is too much. In one sense. Like that. Because why I'm saying na, seeing the response of the Brahmana community afterwards in the same chapter, then we will understand. So let the Brahmanas who eat anything, Sarva Bhaksha, and have taken vows of knowledge and austerity. Dhrita Vidya Tapo Vrata. So Brahmanas they have taken the Vrata of Vidya, matlab Patan Patan, studying the Vedas and teaching the Vedas, and Tapo Vrata, performing austerities, etc. for maintaining the body. So he says that you Brahmanas, followers of Daksha, you take up this vow only for the maintaining the body, not for the spiritual enlightenment. And who enjoy wealth, body, and senses, wander about the earth as beggars. Yachaka vicharantiha. So such kind of brahmanas only look for donations where the donations are being offered. Who will give what? Such kind of only thought process will be there like that. So this is what Nandishwara is pronouncing the curse. They will lose discrimination in what should be eaten and what should not be eaten. This is the third curse of the Brahmanas. They will take vows only for maintaining their bodies. This is the fourth curse. They will enjoy wealth, body, and sense. That is the fifth curse. They will beg. That is the sixth curse. See, I'll just give you two examples. I mean, not in a negative way, but what can be done? Situation is like that. So, one example is from Bhagavatam only. In the fourth canto, we are going to study. So, when Prithu Maharaja was performing another sacrifice, Indra came and disguising himself as a saffron mendicant, stole the tars. So then Prithu Maharaja's son Vijitaswa went after Indra and got the horse back. But Indra is doing this multiple times. Every time he was taking a different attire of sadhu. So later on Brahma says that he is unnecessarily creating the heretic sampradayas. So later on people will follow because Indra following this is a proper dharma, they follow it. They unnecessarily create so many improper sampradayas. This is not at all proper. Please stop. Better to stop this hundred sacrifice than increasing this kind of improper sampradayas. So that is one thing. The second example in Leela Amrut we read uh, Gaur Mohan De, Srila Prabhupada's father. Every day, as a matter of duty, as a grasa, he would invite at least 2 to 3 sadhus, the wandering mendicants on the roadside. And Prabhupada said that I have seen them. They are wearing the robes of mendicant, but they are not behaving like mendicants. Afterward, they drink ganja, they smoke cigar or bidi or drink all the liquor and ganja and etc. etc. What kind of sadhus are there? As a responsibility of a grasa, my father might be respecting them, but I don't have any respect for them. So that he says that when Narendra Malik was inviting Abhay Charande to meet Bhaktivinoda Tagore, that time he was telling all these words. I have seen so many sadhus, I don't have any respect for them, I don't want to meet anyone. Then Narada Malik said that no, this is a different sadhu, please come. When you see him, you will understand what kind of sadhu is he. So it's like that. That's what we can see now also. There are many beggars around wearing saffron clothes. So that is a problem now. So saffron has a sanctity, but people are wearing for the sake of filling their belly many times. So it is like that. This is the last verse from Nandishvara. Tassaivam vadata shapam Shrutva dvijakulaya vai Bhrugu pratyasrujashapam Brahmadandam duratyayam.
When all the hereditary Brahmanas were thus cursed by Nandishvara, the sage Bhrugu, as a reaction, condemned the followers of Lord Shiva with this very strong Brahminical curse.
In the previous part, if you see through afterwards, there are many points Prabhupada talks about modern day Brahminical culture, whatever it is. Because they do not want anyone else to become Brahmanas, because Prabhupada is writing these things those days when Prabhupada giving Brahmanical initiation to some of the Western devotees. There is so much strong opposition. They themselves are not following the Brahmanical culture seriously, and they do not want to anybody else to follow Brahmanical culture. So it becomes like that. And Prabhupada actually goes into more details about this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this Gosais, all the family lineage, they say that we are only qualified to preach the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We come in the Vamsha of Advaita Acharya, we come in the Vamsha of Nityananda Prabhu, something like that. They always say. They, many people, those days at least, nowadays we don't know, but those days they used to say, we only qualified to preach. No one else can do. And who are these Western people? What qualification they have to speak about the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, etc. So many who used to criticize, even Bhaktivedanta Thakur also got criticism from all these the local, the so-called Brahmanas or Gosai Vamshas. So it is there always. So now, as a response to the curses pronounced by Nandisvara, the leader of the Brahmana community, Bhrugu, is going to curse the followers of Lord Shiva, headed by Nandi. Because Nandi, one person, went ahead and cursed the followers of Daksha. As a result of that, the leader of the Brahmana community cursed all the followers of Lord Shiva. So now they are at stake. And now you can say that as Nandi is cursing, the followers of Lord Shiva also enjoyed. Previously, when Daksha was cursing, followers of Daksha were enjoyed. So they got the reaction. As Nandi is cursing, followers of Lord Shiva were enjoying, and they are going to get the reaction. So is that required for no reason?
Prabhuji, but why Lord Shiva didn't stop Nandishvara? Because he's subordinate to Lord Shiva, so he could have stopped him at the first curse itself. Enough.
See, there is something is spoken, something is unspoken. Radha Gopinath Prabhu always gives this example. I mean, this example is one of the example which all of you can relate to it. Having associated with the family members, one understand the needs of the others, one understand the mentality of others. Accordingly, they respond under critical circumstances or any normally also. So every time it is not no need to be spoken externally. Just by looking at the personality, one need to understand what should be done and what should not be done. Lord Shiva is quiet. So followers of Lord Shiva should have been kept quiet. So Master is quiet. So in the purport, actually, Prabhupada writes, have we read it? No? Lord Shiva could have cursed back, but he did not curse. He kept quiet. But on the other hand, Nandishvara is taking the task on his own hand, is becoming the judge and doing all the corrections, awarding punishment, etc. etc. Maybe as a follower, it may be one's duty to protect the honor of the master. But will there be any limit for that, or it can go unlimitedly?
Because he actually spoke many 4, 5 curses, so that was too much, like not needed.
Hmm.
So you
So,
mean Nandishvara, looking at Shiva, he should have understood, means what you are saying, unspoken thing. So he
hmm,
should have understood that my master is quiet, so I
hmm,
should not overreact like
hmm.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
I always thought when Nandisvara spoke all these words, Shiva wasn't there.
No, he is there. We'll read about him. No? Shiva will come at the end of the chapter. He is there. He is witness. He is seeing everything. He heard whatever Daksha spoke. He heard whatever Nandi spoke. Now he is going to hear whatever Bhrugu speaks. He is there.
That means this is definitely a fault on part of Nandi because his master is sitting here. So they're completely disrespecting the master.
See, that's what I am saying. It is not even not the fault of Nandishvara also at the same time.
Yeah.
So one should understand what is the limit. To what extent I can do it. I'm not talking from the point of Nandishwara. From our side, if we want to protect the honor of our elders, we should have a limit. To what limit we can protect the honor of our elders? And if it is beyond that, we should not get into it. Then we are held responsible for losing the reputation of our master. The reputation will not go ours. The master's reputation will
No,
go.
obviously not, because he is now outright cursing the Brahmanas,
Mm.
whereas Shiva is sitting right over there. And Shiva would never want to do this. I mean, as far as I know.
I mean, at least we can think of that. For Shiva, Daksha is elderly person. Okay, yes, send few words. It's okay. What is the problem? One elderly person speaks something. It's okay. Leave it. What's the big deal about it? And from that point of view, Nandishwara must be younger than Shiva.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm? So why he is correcting an elderly person?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, it's very natural when somebody speaks against whom you are following strongly. Very natural that you speak up.
Yes, we should speak up. I'm saying that.
Yeah, you don't go beyond limits, but
Ah.
very natural that you speak up because you cannot bear. You know what kind of person the is.
But now
You
the
cannot
now
bear.
my question is that who will decide the limit?
We should not
Who will decide the limit? This is the problem with Shishupal. Every time he used to speak 99 offenses and stop. He was very, very, very pakka in counting. But in the Rajas sacrifice, the last count, he was going on, 100 over, suddenly head cut. So it's like that. That is the problem with too much enthusiasm, over enthusiasm.
all the problems start with the tongue, because as Rupa Goswami says, Vacho Vegam.
Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam.
If that is being done in this Kali-yuga especially,
Yeah, what can be done? It cannot be. Tongue has multiple functions, eating also, speaking also. So here, when Nandishvara had spoke, Bhrugu, hearing the curse, uttered a Brahmana's curse in response, Brahma Dandam. It is basically Brahma Shap is called as Brahma Danda, which has no reversal, which was difficult to avoid. Duratyayam. A Brahmana's words can never go wrong. Even we read in the third canto, Lord Vishnu says, so my dear four Kumaras, whatever Brahmana says that should come true. So I will make sure that that will happen. So the Jai Vijaya had to bound as demons for 3 times. Even though he can nullify, but still he accepted it. So it's like that. So Prabhupada said that the Lord states in Bhagavad Gita that stringent laws of nature are insurmountable. Similarly, if a curse is uttered by a Brahmana, that curse is also insurmountable. The curses are benedictions of the material world are after all material creations. But though it is material condition, but as long as we are in the material world, we need to follow. We cannot ignore them. So it is like that.
Hare Krishna, but Prabhuji, here the curses which were uttered by Nandishwara, they were not totally of the material nature, na, because he had cursed them to lose the spiritual knowledge, and he had cursed them to remain perpetually in the cycle of birth and death. So means they are not material curses, no, means they are something grave that somebody is losing the spiritual wealth, that kind of a thing.
No, the problem is that still, in spite of being cursed, also, if one is determined to practice spiritual life, one can overcome that. Ninth canto will see an example that what is his name? Shraddha Deva.
Prishadra. Prishadra, na? Prishadra, na?
He had 10 sons. One among them was Prishadra. So he was given the as a Gurukul student, he was given the responsibility of taking care of the cows day and night. So one night he was actually guarding the cow herd. So one tiger entered without making much noise into the cow den, and he started attacking the cows. Then the cows started making a lot of noises. This person understood. Prishadra understood there is a tiger. So he wanted to kill the tiger with his sword, but by the time tiger escaped and a cow died. The next day morning, realizing everything, the guru became very angry. He said, "You have killed a cow. You are not fit to continue as a Kshatriya. May you become Shudra," something like that. So, out of respect for his guru, he accepted the curse and he told his father, "My dear father, anyway, I cannot continue as a Kshatriya. I cannot reside in the palace. I am going." So, he went to the forest. He performed tapasya for the rest of the life. Though he was cursed to become the Shudra in one sense, but he took up the path of austerities. So at the end, he went back to Godhead. Okay. So from the material point of view, it was a blessing from him. No need to be entangled in all the Kshatriya ruling activities and spend a lot of time here. And again, anyway, Vanaprasad and again go to forest. He went to forest now only and he attained perfection. So it's like that.
So whatever curses Nandishvara uttered, even if the Brahmanas they perform their activities properly, they will not have that much effect of the curse. That's what you meant.
See, all these curses will take place. I said now one point. Even though Nandishvara is saying a curse, it apparently seems to be a curse, but he is not talking anything out of philosophy. It is actually philosophical truth. A person who is having the material identity naturally attracted to material enjoyment, naturally becomes attracted by the flowery words of the Vedas. So naturally want to go to Swarga, naturally want to take birth again in the aristocratic family, naturally want to have more and more enjoyment. That person naturally goes through perpetual cycle of migration. Will not? Will he not?
Yes.
So in one sense, apparently it is not a curse. But the problem is that though it is the law of nature, but one should not state it as the principle of dharma. One who identifies the perpetrator is guilty of the same crime.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Thank
like
you.
that we should see.
Basically, never to point finger at anybody.
Ah.
Even if it is an apparent fault of somebody, still we don't.
The unspoken word is there. If something happens to us through somebody, it is simply a reaction of our past karma. That is the ideal approach to everything. But in the name of practicality, we don't. Of course, sometimes we should not, otherwise, we will be exploited. That is also there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how many of us can lead the life of Srila Tukaram Maharaj? Apparently, if you see his life, everyone is trying to exploit him. But in spite of being exploited, he was not never disturbed by all those things. He is in transcendental bliss. Such is the life of such kind of lifestyle is expected for a devotee. So it is like that. We may not, but that is what is aspired for. That means, though one is living in the material world, one should be indifferent to the material world completely. Then only one is ready to go back home, back to Godhead. भवव्रतधराये च ये च तान् समनुव्रता पाषण्डिस्ते भवन्तु सशास्त्रा परिपन्तिना.
One who takes a vow to satisfy Lord Shiva or who follows such principles will certainly become an atheist and be diverted from transcendental scriptural injunctions.
35. You want turn off?
No, I'm fine. You're not.
No, I'm okay. So here, so actually here now, these verses actually become very, very strong. The words spoken by Bhrugu are very, very strong. So Bhavavrata dara echa cha echatan samanuvrata. Let those who take vows to satisfy Lord Shiva. Echata echa Bhavavrata dara. And who follows such persons become heretics. Pashandi te bhavatu. Pashandi means, of course, their translation says heretics, but in one sense, atheist. Of course, in my translation, it is heretics. Heretics means the false propagators, the propagators of false philosophies. Atheists also have a false philosophy. So, in that sense, so such kind of people become atheists, and they will become the obstacles to the genuine scriptures. Sat Shastra Paripantina. Panta means path. Paripantina means obstacles on the path of bona fide Vedic literatures. So it is like that. It is actually a strong curse upon the followers of Lord Shiva that all of you become Pashandis. And all of your activities are the obstacles in the path of Sat Shastra, genuine scriptures.
This Bhrugu Muni is good.
Bhrugu Muni is saying.
How is this justified?
How is this justified? You can read in the purports. Prabhupada talks about, they are very strong, so I don't want to discuss. Prabhupada can say, but I don't have any quality to say in that sense. Prabhupada actually talks about the purpose of Lord Shiva's advent as Shankaracharya. That at one point of time, Lord Vishnu called Lord Shiva that, my dear Shiva, please go and create a deviating path. Let you deviate all the Brahmanas who are attracted to Karmakanda philosophies, all these things. So Lord Shiva himself appears as Lord Shankaracharya and kind of deviates all the people who are superficially attracted to the Vedic literatures by becoming Shankaracharya. Prabhupada quotes, Mayavadam asashastram prachannam bauddhyam uchyate. So, of course, in the later purport, Prabhupada talks about the followers of Lord Shiva who are only interested in agora kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, basically.
Such kind of this thing. Yeah. The next couple of verses actually talk about that very clearly, very vehemently.
Prabhuji, then why so much we condemn Mayavad philosophy? Like in Bhagavad Gita, also we see at every purport Prabhupada mentions the refutation of Mayavad things. So when the Lord himself had decided and himself had ordered Lord Shiva to go and preach such philosophy, then that time, at that particular time period, there was some purpose for which it was needed. But then means if as a Vaishnava or as a devotee we understand that was the purpose, that is why that philosophy has come into existence, then what is the point of we condemning it? Yeah, why means I'm not able to understand that why we means as a in our so many various lectures also we see that we condemn Mayavad philosophy. So why we do that?
No. See the phrase here. Sat Shastra Paripantina. The Vedic literatures always respect Brahmavada. Proper practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and with the help of Bhakti, attainment of Sajya Mukti. That is respected all over Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. We have discussed elaborately in our Bhakti Shastri, and in the previous cantos of Bhagavatam also we discussed. In the teachings of Lord Kapil also we discussed about it elaborately in the 3 chapters 26, 27, 28, etc. So that is always there. So Mayavada is entirely kind of Asas Shastra kind of thing. See, problem is that Mayavadi Krishna Aparadi. The Mayavadis, they say that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So they say that not only Jagat Mithya, not only Bhautika Jagat Mithya, even Adhyatmika Jagat also Mithya. Even the Bhagavan, the understanding of Bhagavan and Paramatma is also Mithya. They go to that extent. They only say Brahman is Satya, nothing else other than Brahman, nothing is Satya. and that Brahman is you only. They equate Jiva with the Brahman. But
Yeah.
Brahmavadis don't equate Jiva with Brahman. Brahmavadis keep the distinction between Brahman and Jivatma separately. But the Jivatma want to enter into Brahman and remain in a standstill condition, in a neutrality.
Understood, Prabhuji, but what I'm not trying able to understand is when this is the philosophy, what you mentioned is right. This is the philosophy of Mayavad, and that is why we condemn it.
Hmm.
But the point is that this philosophy has come into existence by the order of the Lord.
Hmm. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. Lord Vishnu instructed Lord Shiva to deviate the demonic people who are creating havoc in the name of Vedic literatures. In order to deviate them, Lord Shiva appeared as Shankaracharya and deviated them. As we saw in the previous verses, those who are materially identifying people will become attracted to Karmakanda rituals of the Vedas. The same way, the demoniac people who does not want to serve the Brahman, absolute truth, they'll be attracted to Mayavada philosophy.
Yeah, now I'm
Obviously.
understanding, Prabhuji. Maybe because means that was for that time, and now it should not be used, that philosophy. That is why we condemn it.
No, even that time also, even now also, Mayavada philosophy meant for the people who say that Ishwaroham Aham Siddhoham Balavan Sukhi, for such kind of people. And that philosophy will make sense to that kind of people.
Yeah. Otherwise, means because the philosophy is there, someone may accept that and start behaving like that. So we have to condemn it to prove that this is not for the current age.
Because
That
that philosophy is completely against to our Vaishnava philosophy.
yeah. Yeah.
Our philosophy is that Tua Prabhu Am Dasa. You are my master, I am your servant. I am here to serve you for your pleasure.
Yeah.
And the Mayavada philosophy is that no servant, no master. You, me, ye, sab ek hi hai. Baki sab mithya.
Hmm. Yeah. Understood, Prabhu. Thank you.
नष्टसुचा मुदादियो sorry नष्टसुचा मूढधियो जटा भस्मास्ति धारिणा विसन्तु शिवदीक्षायां यत्र दैवं सुरासवम्. Yeah, please read someone.
Those who vow to worship Lord Shiva are so foolish that they imitate him by keeping long hair and their heads on their heads. When initiated into worship of Lord Shiva, they prefer to live on wine, flesh, and other such things.
Yeah, in the previous verse it is said that such kind of people follow Lord Shiva, accepting Lord Shiva as their object of worship, and they generally become passiondees, and then they become obstacles on the right religious path. And now they get into more details. Unclean, nasta saucha. These people are not at all clean, and they are mudadiyo, foolish, and they'll be wearing matted cloth locks, ashes, and bones. Jata, Bhashma, Asti, Dharina. Jatadara, Bhasma Alankara, Asti, Asti garland, whatever you can say. So they wear all these things. Generally we just go to Smashan to attend the final rites. Immediately we come and take bath. We never again go back again. And these people are wearing the skulls, which are untouchable in one sense. And these people are decorating themselves with the crematorium ashes, Bhasma, and Jata. And we always, many of us completely shave, and others at least keep small shaving. And they keep the hair for the entire life without cutting the hair only. So it is like that. They may take initiation from Lord Shiva. Vishantu Shiva Dikshayam. They may take the path of Lord Shiva and then worship intoxication as if it were a deity. Yatra Daivam Surasavam. They treat Surasavam as the object of their worship. That is ganja, etc. etc. Sura is liquor made from sugar, grains, and honey. Asava is a liquor made from the sap of the tala tree and other plants. In the villages, we can see even today also, tal trees are there. The white wala.
Yeah.
They worship wine as if it were a devata. So for these people whom we see in the Himalayan range, many of them, so for them smoking ganja is like their morning ritual. Because the areas are very cold early morning, they take bath in the ice cold water. Immediately they smear all over body with the hot ashes and then they smoke ganja. Externally they are heating their body with the hot ashes, and internally with ganja they are also heating themselves. So this is their ritual, daily rituals. From the Vaishnava point of view, these are all completely away. No intoxication, not this, not that, so many things. So they are completely out of the way, out of the scope. So that means that you people will become like this, will be followers of such kind of culture, something like that. Bhrugu is saying.
For shaving head, there's any particular reason for it? Because recently I saw
Cleanliness, that's all.
Yeah, Prabhupada
Keep it
also
clean.
said the same thing, that it's all about cleanliness. There's no specific reason.
These are all dead matter. The nails and hair are dead matter. How much dead matter will keep? So clean. Otherwise, in Kali Yuga, Keshanam Lavada. What is that verse? Lavanyam Kesha Dharanam. 12th canto. The beauty in Kali Yuga is by having hair. So it's like that. Brahmacha Brahmanaschaiva Yadyuyam Parinindata Setum Vidaranam Pumsham Atapashandamashrita.
Muni continued, since you blaspheme the Vedas and the Brahmanas, who are followers of the Vedic principles, it is understood that you've already taken shelter of the doctrine of atheism.
Because, Ata, therefore, you criticize the Vedas and the Brahmanas. Brahmacha, Brahmanamscha. Brahma means the supreme absolute truth. You criticize the supreme Lord as well as you criticize the Vedas. Brahmanas means Vedas, which act as the institution to support the mankind. Basically, criticizing Vedas means criticizing Varnashrama Dharma, criticizing the essential teachings of Vedas such as Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. You will all take shelter of heretical views, Pashanda Mashrita. All you followers of Shiva will take shelter of all atheistic philosophies. So, in that way.
Prabhuji, here blaspheming the Vedas is taken as blaspheming the Brahma, like Brahmacha and Brahmanacha.
Brahma means not Lord Brahma. Brahma means
No,
absolute
not
truth. Brahman.
Brahma, the Supreme Lord.
The Supreme Lord.
So means Vedas means Supreme Lord. That way it has been taken.
I will read the notes. Brahma means Vedas. The Brahmanas are the others, teachers of the Vedas. Okay. Here Brahma with Vedas. Brahmanas means the Brahmanas who are the teachers of the Vedas, not the Supreme Lord. The Vedas and the Brahmanas. As of now, there is no Supreme Lord. Basically, they are criticizing the Vedas because in the previously they said that you will take the vows of the reading the Shastra only to fill the belly. So taking that into context, they are telling that you are criticizing you are criticizing the Vedas and the teachers of the Vedas. They are the institution which supports men who are following the correct path. Maybe among the Brahmanas, some may be attracted to Karmakanda rituals, but not everyone. But they were criticizing all the Dvijakula, all the entire twice born community should be like this, should be like this, like that. Nandisvara was saying that was too much. So for which Bhrugu is saying that everyone is not like that. you are criticizing everyone altogether, so you will be out of Vedic culture. So you does not want any Vedas, so go out of Vedic culture. So in that way, he's saying, because the Vedas are meant for guiding our daily routine activities. So they are the institution which supports the men who are following the correct path. Basically, Vedas talk about how to follow Varnashrama culture. So without that, our life is not guided properly. So it's like that. So in one sense, Bhrugumuni boycotted the Shiva followers from the Vedic purview. They are out of Varnashrama system in that sense. As a result now. एष एव हि लोकानां शिवपन्था सनातन यं पूर्वे चानु सन्तस्तुर् यत्प्रमाणं जनार्दन.
The Vedas give the eternal regulative principles for auspicious advancement in human civilization, which have been rigidly followed in the past. The strong evidence of this principle is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is called Janardana, the well-wisher of all living entities.
Yeah. So now, Esha stands for the Vedas, because Esha means whatever is being spoken in the previous verse. So the Vedas, which were followed previously and in which the subject of inquiry is Janardana, Atato Brahma Jignasa. The essence of the Vedas is Vedanta Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra basically. The first of them is Atato Brahma Jignasa. So now, having gotten the human form of species, human form of life, inquire into Brahman, Atato Brahma Jignasa. So the Vedas which were followed previously and in which the subject of inquiry is about Janardana, are the auspicious eternal path for humanity. The essential teachings of the Vedas is inquiry into Janardana. But the Vedas also might be talking about the Sakama Karma, Nishkama Karma, and other things. But as they said that you people are only attracted to Sakama Karma rituals of the Vedas. But so keeping that in point of discussion, they criticize the Vedas because Vedas is only teaching Sakama Karma. To that effect they spoke. But here Bhrugumuni is saying that that is not the Vedas. By principal teaching is inquiry into Janardana. That you are not understood. You people don't know anything about this. And you people never follow this. That is what he will say in the next verse. The next verse will be following of this verse. Here he is talking about the principle and the curse he will pronounce in the next verse. Criticizing the Vedas, you tread the wrong path. Esha refers to the Vedas, in which Janardana, Lord Janardana is the witness and he is the subject of inquiry. He is the ultimate pramana. Yat pramanam Janardana. So Janardana is supposed to be obtained, as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, Vedesha sarver ahameva vedyo Vedanta krut veda videva chaham. The ultimate essence of the Vedas is Vedesha sarver ahameva vedyo. I am supposed to be known by reading all the Vedas. So all the karmakanda rituals and all, they are all superficial. On the surface they are there. But that is not all in all. So saying that these are the Vedic teachings, you have criticized the Vedas. So you are not fit to be in the Vedic fold. So like that, here Bhrugumuni is going to talk about it. And in this purport, Prabhupada talks about many is basically all the points are different teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Whatever we read in the Bhagavad Gita, they are all kind of summarized here by Srila Prabhupada. So what is the standpoint of the Vedas, Apaurushaya, and what is the position of the living entities in relation to Supreme Lord? What is the position of the Varnashrama Dharma in relation to Supreme Lord? What is Sanatana Dharma, this Dharma, that Dharma, etc. etc. All these things. Basically, the simple teachings of the Vedas are being summarized by Prabhupada in this purport. Nice summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So this is the consequence to the previous verse. Now they are cursing. Now Bhrugu Muni is cursing now. Tad Brahma Paramam Shuddham Satam Vartma Sanatanam Vigarhya Yata Pashandam Daivam Vo Yatra Bhutarat. Yeah, someone read the verse translation.
By blaspheming the principles of the Vedas, which are the pure and supreme path of the saintly persons, certainly you followers of Bhutapati, Lord Shiva, will descend to the standard of atheism without a doubt.
Criticizing the supreme, Paramam, pure, Shuddham, eternal, Sanatanam, the Vedas, Tad Brahma, the path of saints, Satam Vartma, you will become heretics, Pashandam, in which state your deity will be Shiva, Daivam Yo Yatra Bhutarat. So, neglecting all the Vedic teachings, you will become the followers of Bhutarat. So, this is the result of blasphemers. You will certainly attain this. My curse is incidental. I am not cursing this out of anger towards you because your behavior is such that you disapprove the Vedas, you disregard the Vedas. So, this is the consequential result of those who disregard the Vedas. Like that is saying. Bhutarat, one meaning is the king of the Bhutas. All of you will become like Bhutas worshipping Lord Shiva. And another meaning of Bhutarat means uh, he who rules over all the living entities. Rat means to rule over. He is the king of all the living entities. He is at the Vishwanath. He is the king of all the living entities. So like that, Bhrugu Muni also closed his counter curses. He completed. You people criticize Vedas. You are not part of the Vedas. You stay away from the Vedas. You stay out of Vedic fold. Like that he pronounced. The last two verses, we'll just do these two verses and we'll close for today. I'm sorry, we are already 35. Tasaivam vadatāshāpam bhrugosa bhagavan bhava nishkrama tata kinchit vimana ivasanuga.
The sage Maitreya said when such cursing and counter cursing was going on between Lord Shiva's followers and the parties of Daksha and Bhrugu, Lord Shiva became very morose. Not saying anything, he left the arena of the sacrifice, followed by his disciples.
So looking at the behavior of his own followers and the Brahmana community, Lord Shiva was not at all happy. So while Bhrugu was cursing in this way, Lord Shiva, in a morose mood, left with his followers. Lord Shiva left, so somehow or other Shiva's followers also followed him. They did not again revolt back against. But one interesting principle is that why did Shiva left at this point only? Because things are becoming out of control. अभी तक थोड़ा control में था. Things are going overboard. So obviously if Lord Shiva would have stayed for a few more minutes, Nandisvara would have started cursing more. In order to stop that, Lord Shiva immediately got up and left. Why? That is mentioned here in the notes. Hearing that Lord Janardhan is the subject of inquiry and worrying that Nandisvara out of anger would speak badly about Janardhana and his devotees. Previously the curse was only about Brahmanas. Because Lord Janardhana's name came, now Vaishnavas also will come into cursing and counter cursing business. So Lord Shiva does not want that. So Lord Shiva immediately left. He appeared to be morose. Vimana iva sanuga. Vimana iva means externally he displayed the moroseness, but he was not completely morose. Because he is self-satisfied, he was not actually morose. He is not affected by any of these things. Whatever Daksha said, whatever Bhrugu said, whatever Nandi said, he was not disturbed at all. So in that sense, the meaning of this incident is that the intelligent person should take shelter of the Vaishnavas and give up the Shaivites and those following the path of karma. Even the Brahmanas also who are following path of karma, both should be given up. Instead, instead take shelter of Vaishnavas because the other two people constantly engage in cursing and counter cursing, such as Nandisvara and Bhrugu. That is not at all good for Vaishnavas. And the glorious position of Lord Shiva we can see from the 12th canto of Bhagavatam. Nimnaganam yata Ganga, Devanam Achuto yata, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu, Purananam idam tata. Among all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is glorified at highly among them. So in that way. So that was about glorification of Lord Shiva. So very soon we are going to have Mahashivaratri. So in that way.
It's Monday.
I don't know which day, but it is coming up very soon. Tepi Vishwasrujam Satram Sahasra Parivastharan Samvidaya Maheshwasa Yatreja Rushabhohari Aplutyava Brutam Yatra Ganga Yamunanvita Virajena Sarve Swam Dama Yayustata.
The sage Maitreya continued, O Vidura, all the progenitors of the universal population thus executed a sacrifice for thousands of years, for sacrifice is the best way to worship the Supreme Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. My dear Vidura, carriers of bows and arrows, all the demigods who were performing the sacrifice took their bath at the confluence of the Ganges and the Yamuna after completing the yajna performance. Such a bath is called as a avabhrata snana. After thus becoming purified in heart, they departed for their respective abodes.
This sacrifice started for the welfare of the entire universe. But in between, few people took it too personal and things are going topsy-turvy. So Lord Shiva, in order to allow the sacrifice to continue, he left and his followers followed after him. So now there is no chance of cursing and counter cursing. So there is no one. And we can also think that other way, those who are followers of Daksha also might have left the assembly. But all the other Brahmanas who are genuine Brahmanas, genuine followers of the Vedic culture, they stayed back. They are called as the progenitors, the creators of the universe, all the Prajapatis. After performing sacrifice for 1,000 years, in which the Supreme Lord was the best of those worthy of worship, is worshipped. They continued the sacrifice, they completed the sacrifice in which they worship Lord Vishnu. In spite of the absence of Daksha and his followers, Lord Shiva and his followers. And taking their Avabrata bath at the confluence of Ganga and Yamuna, with purified minds, departed for their respective abodes. But the other genuine Brahmanas, they did not stop the sacrifice just because Daksha is not there, Lord Shiva is not there, Lord Shiva's followers, Daksha followers are not there. They completed the sacrifice, worship Lord Vishnu, and the completion is taking bath in the combined waters of Ganga and Yamuna. They went after performing the sacrifice without Lord Shiva, Daksha, and their followers. There were no obstacles generated from their quarrel, for it is said that at that sacrifice the Supreme Lord, the best among beings worthy of worship, is being worshipped. Thus, without worship of Lord Shiva and others such as Daksha, etc., still there was no imperfection in the sacrifice. If Vishnu is worshipped and other devatas are worshipped in the sacrifice, it is completed. So something like that. So the sacrifice is completed by all the other Prajapatis, the sons of Lord Brahma, like Bhrugu, Vasishta, Pulaha, Kratu, they all performed and completed it. And all the devatas and other Brahmana community taking bath at the confluence of Ganga and Yamuna, they returned to their respective homes. So, for no reason, Daksha became angry on Shiva. Shiva's followers became angry on Daksha's followers. Daksha's followers became angry on Shiva's follower. So, these are all happened because of some expectation of undue respect. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, there was one small thing why means we said that Lord Shiva is the Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, so he is the greatest of Vaishnavas. So why externally he poses a behavior which is quite away from the Vaishnavas, like putting on the ashes and
Oh, that we discussed na in the third canto, 14th chapter. Diti approaches Maitreya in the evening In that chapter, we discussed elaborately about Lord Shiva. He is simply showing us that stay in the world, but indifferent to the world. Don't be attracted to the material facilities, material possessions. What Lord Shiva wants, he wears a deer skin and he puts all the ashes on the body which are freely available. No need to work hard. No need to worry about so much things. Just focus on Krishna consciousness. He is teaching Apana Acharati Prabhu Sabha Shikaila.
Okay. So, yeah.
Apana Acharati Prabhu Sabha Shikaila.
Become exemplary.
Yeah, it's like that. People approach Lord Shiva seeking for so many benedictions. He is Ashutosh, he will give. But his personality himself is quite indifferent to all those things. Whoever understands that, they will really follow the actual mood of Lord Shiva.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why he is Vaisnavana Metashambhu.
Okay. So basically, all the external appearance exhibits his vairagya.
Ah, yes, yes. Like the Goswamis we read, Goswamis do not have anything. Kaupina Kanta Kaluram Kalubhagyavanta.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
in that way.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Hare
and one more reminder, just please, can you send the verses in Devanagari, please?
Okay, okay. I was busy. I could not do. I will do it. I'll send it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्री प्रभु